guys, I'm just Genshin. Welcome back to another little random one-off video here that I unashamedly stole from my good boy Yeetus. I think the name of the playlist I made for these yesterday was Random Garbage. Not that I think the videos themselves are garbage, because I don't think that's true at all. But I had no other category to put these very random one-off videos in. So enjoy this week's worth of, or at least the foreseeable future's worth of random garbage until we get through, well, this weird little waiting period in terms of employment. Anyway, today we're going to be doing a Genshin Impact tier list. Genshin Impact is a game that I have been rather addicted to over the over the short little, well, how long have I been in? I got into it a little bit late, I gotta be honest with you. I missed a lot of the cool early characters and banners. Missed Venti and Diluc and Klee and all of those cool early pure Mondstadt characters, and I jumped in right around the time that they introduced, actually Liyue was already introduced when I started, so I got into the game a little bit late and have been playing catch up ever since. But it's unbelievably fun. It's an extremely good game, and for the low price of $0, though I've spent a little bit of money, I gotta be honest, they got me. It's addicting. For the low price of $0, it's one of the best games I've played in the last year for sure. Yeti made one of these, link in the description, of course, below. Going over his tier list, though he changed up the tier names, I'm too lazy to do that, so we'll stick with the traditional S, A, B, C, D, though we may have to create a separate F tier for one particular character. Sorry, Yeti. But we'll stick with this for now, and I guess I should clarify right off the bat. So Genshin Impact is a gacha style game where these characters, you use wishes to get these different characters. These characters use different kinds of weapons. They have different abilities. They have different powers, passives and actives. They use different elements. And you use them to build a team that you then go use to explore a world and grind, essentially, endlessly. And it's extremely, I know I just described it in a way that probably doesn't sound super fun. It's unbelievably fun. It's like Avatar meets Breath of the Wild meets Destiny meets, I don't know, it's like all my favorite media properties smashed into one. It's so good. Meets waifus. Anyway, I'm going to be ranking these characters based on my personal perspective. However, it's important to note that I don't have every character in here. I am a free-to-play, mostly player. I think I've spent like $10 so far on some of the Moon Mage blessings, so that I could get a couple extra Primo gems here and there, but I am a free-to-play player for the most part, so I probably only have like half of these characters. And just having them is one thing. Actually using them, again, it takes a lot of grinding. You gotta grind up ascension materials and EXP stuff. And so a lot of these characters are just chilling at like level 20. Never to see the battlefield, but I do have them. So in the cases where I actually have a character and I use it, you know, I'll be considering maybe their viability in battle. For the characters that I don't, we're going to be going basically purely off of, did they appear in any of the story quests thus far? What do I think of their personality? What do I think of their overall character design, their element, their abilities, etc.? The few things I know. I may not have first-hand experience. All that to be said, don't take, like, this is not a technical by-the-book Genshin Impact tier list. If you're trying to find the best of these heroes to use in your Spiral Abyss, maybe don't take my advice. I'm only on like floor 9 and can't get past it because I'm stinky. I'm only at adventure, I'm at 48, we're starting to get there. Still a little bit behind though. So anyway, don't take this as the Bible of like, you know, when I put, if I put Zhang Ling up in S tier, which would be silly, but if I did, don't be like, okay, that's the greatest character in the game, I must use that. It's not that. It's personal opinion. If I insult your favorite character, I'm extremely sorry. Do not take it personally. It's possible I just haven't used them enough to see their proper greatness in action, and maybe no one in my friend group uses them, so I haven't seen their greatness in action. Or they haven't had a cool story quest, so I don't know about their cool personality yet. So if I insult your favorite character, I do apologize. Please do not take anything personally. These are purely my opinions alone. All right, with that being said, let's get into it. Now, do we just, I guess we could go in order? Except I'm a little offended. I'm actually going to start not in reverse order, but I'm going to start at the very end with Jinyoung here. just to get her out of the way right off the bat, because for me, it's a very easy S tier. This is my #1 character that I play as in Genshin Impact. I should go ahead and let you know right off the bat, I have a bias, a huge bias, towards Claymore users in this game. It's kind of my like typical style in most of these games. Skyrim, Dark Souls, I really like the slow attacking but hard hitting archetype more than a like death by 1,000 paper cuts kind of thing. I like the big sword, hit hard. I like those kind of characters, and you'll see that a lot as we go through these. And Jinyoung was the first, actually, the very first Claymore character that I got in the game. And one of the early Pyros, the first Pyro that I got other than Amber, I should say. Who counts, don't get me wrong, definitely counts as a Pyro character, but Jinyoung was the first, the second Pyro character that I got, plus she was a Claymore user, so I said, you know what, I'm using her. And she's my #1. I use her as a main DPS right now. Long term, I'm probably going to move her into her more traditional support role. I'm waiting on getting a couple other characters ascended up, primarily this boy right here, my man Razor. And I may pair them as a 1-2. It also depends on how many constellations you get with her. I'd like to get her to the physical debuff constellation so that these two paired together can just wreck shop. But right now she's my main DPS and she does a really, really good job at that. You know, that's what we'll do. We're going to go in order of my main team. I have my main team of characters that I use. I'm not going to say they're all going to be in the S tier because I don't think that's necessarily true. But it's the characters I'm the most familiar with. So, Jinyoung is my #1 main damage dealer, Claymore user, and I like her quite a bit. She will, and also just like beyond using her in the game, I like the cool rock and roll punk rock aesthetic. I think her character design is very clean. I like that she has a little drum on her back that everywhere when I'm flying across Liyue, I just hear dunk, 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 dunk everywhere that I go, thinking that there's some enemies sneaking up on me, but it's actually just her own little battle music going with her. She's got a fun little prop. I think that's cool. Riff Revolution having this giant, you know, pyrotechnic rock and roll Metallica show wave of fire pop up is really cool, and her shield's very helpful as well. So I like her quite a bit. She will probably remain my main DPS for the foreseeable future. And I mean, I just like everything about her. She's really good. The second member of my team, my elemental support, if you will, that I often pair with Jinyoung is, and I just got her to level 80 and just got another constellation as well, so she became a lot more valuable, is the Prinzessin des Derfendurf Fischl. Fischl's my #2 character right now. I'm also gonna put her in the S tier. A lot of similar things here to Jinyoung, though I don't use Fischl in nearly the same capacity. Fischl essentially exists for me to drop Oz on the battlefield so that I can get a lot of fun overcharge reactions using Jinyoung. And she does really good at that. But beyond that, I think her character design is really clean. Although originally I didn't understand that it was Oz speaking, so occasionally I would switch into Fischl and a deep male voice would play, and I said, Fischl, you doing okay? But I didn't realize she had her nice little talking raven Oz with her. Just the concept between those two is really cool. She's got like a little spirit or pet that kind of does some of her bidding for her. Her ability to just drop him on the field and get persistent damage without having to be on the field, I think, is really cool. The only thing I'm really missing from sending her into the stratosphere in terms of build on my team is Stringless. I'm waiting for that bow so that I can boost some of the elemental reaction stuff that she does, but I finally got a sweet artifact set for her, Thundering Fury. So finally got a nice golden set for her, so our chemical reactions have been kind of off the chain. These are my main two. You'll catch me swapping between these main two pretty much primarily, and they're probably my two favorite characters that I have in the game right now. The third member of my team, I know most people don't like this guy, but I think he's okay. Maria calls him Pirate Daddy. His name is actually Kaya. He is an ice, a cryo character, sword wielding. I'm not gonna put him into the S tier again. He serves a very similar role I'm thinking A tier. I'll put him in A tier, which is a lot higher than a lot of people would, but I think that's what we're gonna do. I like Kaya quite a bit. I think his design is really, really good. He pops up a lot in the early story missions. He's one of the first 4 free characters that you get, so you get to interact with him quite a bit. His like kind of snarky, it's maybe a little overdone, a little like little Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, or I don't know if Iron Man is the right word, but little snarky, little. He loves him some wine. You can find him at the tavern quite often. I think his character personality is really good. I think the character design is really, really good. I do dig the eye patch. And while I don't really like sword-wielding characters that much, I do like his cryo abilities. And he serves pretty much a similar role to Fischl, just not as well. Where I essentially bring him out to... I essentially bring him out, pop his ultimate, get those nice crystal shards flowing around me so that I can inflict some melt and overcharge simultaneously, just building up those reactions around fire. We'll get to it eventually. Eventually, I think Jinyoung's gonna leave this team and I'm gonna insert another character if I can get said character. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but I think in terms of chemical reactions or just elemental reactions, he's gonna be perfect for this team, and then I'll probably pair up Jinyoung and Razor to do a physical damage dealing backup team as well. But yeah, Kaya does pretty similar things to Fischl, just not quite as well. So I'll put him in the A tier. And the final member of my main team, honestly, I was just dying a whole bunch and I needed a healer to keep me alive. And the only healer that I had at the time was Barbara. Everybody got Barbara for free, so I used Barbara. And she's just kind of been sticking with the team ever since. I'll put her in the B tier. I think the character design is really good. She's adorable. I love our good friend Not So Livid showed this to me. If you're Barbara and you walk through Mondstadt and you use your attacks on any of the Mondstadt citizens, they clap for you, which I think is adorable because she's kind of like a celebrity, a little. She's in the church, but she's like almost like a pop star level status among the citizens of Mondstadt, which is kind of hilarious. I like when she's popped up occasionally in some of the story quests. I think the character design's really good. Battle-wise, she doesn't do a ton for me. Occasionally, I'll get opponents a little wet and then maybe get some frozen reactions, then get some melt. So she plays a little bit into the elemental reaction stuff. Not a ton. She's not really an offensive powerhouse. She exists when these guys start getting a little weak. I switch into her, I heal them up, and I go back to smashing stuff again. So she's definitely my least favorite member of my current team. I think... if I could really bring my team up a step, and you know what, I guess here's where we'll go next. If I could bring my team up a step, this current team, the character that I do not have currently, that I am waiting for, that I would love to obtain, that I think basically smashes both of these characters into one, is Chi-Chi. If I can obtain Chi-Chi, who I believe to be an S tier character, if I can obtain Chi-Chi, who is a healer, but whose healing scales based off of attack instead of based off of HP, like Barbara does, you almost get the best of both worlds here. You lose the water, that's fine. Put in, I don't know, Mona or something, someone else who can get some elemental reactions going. You lose out on the water, but you keep the cryo, and you keep the healing. And you have an extra now spot to work with to potentially make this team even more stacked. I don't have Chi-Chi right now. I love that she is a zombie. What a tragic backstory. How strange, but also adorable at the exact same time. I like the way she runs like an airplane with her arms held out. This is our boy Not So Livid. It's not his main character now. He has a new character who is, I think, taking the reins. That's not a Coco Goat joke, but taking the reins away from Chi-Chi just a little bit. Which has maybe opened up the doors for me to get Chi-Chi. Just gotta wait for that magical wish to hit. Chi-Chi is a character that I'm really, really looking for to potentially add to my team. I love the way she talks. The character design's really good. The Coco Goat mission was hilarious and a lot of fun. And that's one of the next team members I'm looking to add to my team. Okay, I think we'll just go in order now at this point. It seems fair to just go in order now. These are my current 4, but I really want Chi-Chi to try to replace these 2. Who would I then put in? Not sure. Let's talk about the Traveler. I guess I'll do both Travelers in one. I have nothing against either of the travelers. I think from a character design perspective, the brother and sister thing is very cool. I like their abilities quite a bit, and they have, it's like I said, there's almost an avatar element of, you know, they get to control all of the different elements. Now, I picked this character, so I know this character a whole lot more than I know the female equivalent. And I don't know either of their names, so I apologize. I just know them as Traveler, because that's what everybody in the game calls me as. I called them Jersh, but everyone calls them Traveler. So we'll call them the Travelers. I think I'm going to stick them both in B tier for now. Again, I think long-term, they'll probably continue to rise. Eventually, I believe the plan is they will have control over all of 7 of the different elements within Genshin Impact. Right now, they have Anemo and Geo. The Anemo abilities are, at least for this guy, are pretty cool. I like the cool tornado thing he's got going on that carries the enemies away. Outside of puzzle solving, Geo leaves a little bit to be desired in my personal opinion. I know Geo as a whole kind of needs a little bit of a buff, so Geo's kind of left in the dust. Once these characters continue to get more and more of the different elemental abilities, your ability to slot them into your team, I think, is going to be really, really handy to fill in any missing gaps you might have. That's awesome. The fact that he's free and can do all that is awesome. He is a sword user, which, again, I typically like a little bit less than the Claymore users, but oh well. All right, let's go to Albedo next. Albedo got his entire long quest line in Dragon Spire, in the new icy region of the map. And I loved his storyline quite a bit, and I actually managed to get Albedo in a wish, though I haven't used him yet. I used him in the trial run. He's only like level 20. I haven't put I don't have the resources to grind him up to really use him in battle yet, but just based off of what I have used of him, his overall quest line, his character model, etc., he's really close between A and B tier. I think I'll lean a little bit more heavy towards an A tier here. Really just, again, for the quest line alone, I loved the Dragon Spire stuff and the sword quest was awesome. He's got a really interesting backstory that they haven't quite divulged yet. He's got some sort of weird connection to the Traveler that I'm sure they're going to get into eventually. I don't know if there's like a weird demon inside. I don't know. He was talking a little strange and had me a little concerned. So I'm interested to learn more about him. I kind of just like the way that he speaks. He's very intelligent. He's got the alchemy stuff going on. His abilities, again, I can't speak to very much. He's got the little elevator thing, which has certainly helped me with a couple puzzles every now and again, trying to collect little animal particles and stuff like that. It's helped me out there. And I can't even remember what his Q does. Drop something on the ground. See, I don't know him very well, but just based purely for these characters that I don't use a ton, we'll go purely based on aesthetics and their story stuff. His story stuff knocked it out of the park for me, and I think his character design is really good. Amber. 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 Amber, I know this is a meme. I know it's a Genshin Impact meme. Amber always gets her own tier. It's the lowest. Yeah, okay, you know what? For my boy Yeti, I'm not gonna do that to her. I'm not gonna give Amber her own tier. She is gonna go into the D tier. She was the first character out of my original, of the 4 characters they give you right off the bat. She was the very first I replaced. I'll give her this. She's very handy for puzzle solving, having pyro arrows for lighting up torches and stuff like that. It's very, very handy. She's the first archer you get, which is good. Her abilities just aren't quite there. Her personality, the design is good. The character design, she looks awesome. Like, very cool character design. I would say that her personality doesn't quite do it for me. Maybe a little bit too bubbly, if that makes sense. I don't know, that maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing for everybody, but just a little too, the personality doesn't do it for me. The character design is really good. I just can't use her in battle. I know that Yeti has found some magical build, and that's the cool thing about Genshin. You can make just about any character work if you can find the right artifacts and build an bow and build them in the proper way, etc. And I know Yeti has. I got her to like level 30, and I wish I could have some of those Ascension materials back for Jinyoung instead, but you know, it can't live in the past too much, so she's gonna stay down the D tier. Nothing more to say about that. I don't know who this is. This is like a leaked character, I'm pretty sure, who's not actually in the game yet. I'm not gonna do anything with her because I don't quite know who she is, and I don't know anything about her, so I don't feel very able to. Baidu, Beidou. This is a character that I don't have. This is a character that I do not have. I think that the... Sorry about the weird cut. Had a quick work situation needed to take care of. Let's get back into the Genshin tier list brain. Where were we? We were on Baidu, Beidou. I don't know how to pronounce this character's name. Apologies. Because I don't have this character. Another character, actually this is besides Chi-Chi, first character we have that I don't have. She's a Claymore user, that's pretty cool. I think she's Electro, if I'm 100% sure. I believe she's Electro. I know her gimmick is kind of not parrying per se, but doing counter attacks on enemies and doing a lot of damage based on countering enemy attacks, which I think is kind of an interesting mechanic. From what I've read and from what I know about this character, that mechanic doesn't always work with the Genshin AI, but it's at least a cool concept. She's a pirate lady. She's a Claymore user, which I'm instantly going to have a little bit more of an affinity for. And I think she looks... I mean, just BA. She looks cool as heck. I'm gonna put her in A tier. This is a character I don't have. And if I got her, I don't even know if I would use her, per se. Okay, let's put her in B. Let's not get... These are special categories. We'll put her in the B tier. She hasn't even had like a... Eventually, I'm sure she'll get some sort of story quest. I don't believe... Did she? No. No, I don't think you've popped up in any story quests. I did go to the pirate ship. Out in the sea, but I don't think you've had a story quest yet. Anyway, I may have grow a bit more of an affinity for this character. I think she's certainly got all the right stuff. The model looks amazing. She's a Claymore user, which is big ups for me. Electro's a cool element, and the countering mechanic is cool, but I honestly just don't know enough about her. Bennett. Bennett Foddy. Let's go hang out with Amber. I think Bennett's gonna go hang out with Amber. I'm sorry, I'm not insulting your favorite character. I'm sorry, these are my personal rankings. I do have Bennett. I have like 6 Bennetts. I don't actually. If I had 6 Bennetts, he would be valuable because I know that the final constellation for him is kind of broken. I have like 3 Bennetts. He's Pyro, who I already have Jinyoung for, so I have never really needed him. He is a sword user, which I like a little bit better than, little worse than Claymore users, so I don't really like him. And while I think his character model is cool, I like kind of like the scrappy, young, almost Pokemon trainer youngster vibe. But unfortunately, he's got a very kiddish personality as well, a little childish, I would say. It rubs me a little bit the wrong way. He's not my favorite. What does he say? What's his... He's got a cringy quote. And look, I got... My favorite character is Jinyoung. You want to talk about cringe quotes? You got fire in your soul. You got to rock and roll. Believe me, I know there's plenty of them. He's got one that I can't... Teamwork makes the dream work. Is that what he says? Bennett just doesn't quite do it for me. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put him down there in the D tier. I think he's more viable battle-wise than Amber for sure. The personality just doesn't do it for me, and I don't think he's had any quests either. So this is one that may change over time if I get to do some fun quests with him. But right now, leaves a little bit to be desired, I would say. All right, next up on the list we have Shong Yoon, an Ice-type Claymore user. Who I do have, I have one copy of Shong Yoon. I will be honest, I have not used him very much. I did the test run with him. It's not that I didn't like what he was bringing to the table. It's mostly, he didn't fit in with my current team needs. So Shong Yoon's thing is he converts a lot of your damage to cryo. And since I am using Jinyoung and I like to do the physical damage instead, I don't like having all of my damage converted to cryo. It messes with some of my buffs, so and he just never made sense. And I was using K already, so he never really made much sense to use on the team. He's an interesting character that I would like to learn more about. Right now, I'm just gonna drop him in C right now because I honestly just don't know enough about him, and I'm not super. I've never found myself being really super excited to use him either. He's just kind of sitting on the bench right now. Maybe someday he'll make it up to the big leagues once I've got 10,000 Ascension materials, but not yet. All right, now let's talk about the big leagues because D-Luke is up in the big leagues. This is my number one goal. Next to Chi-Chi, D-Luke is my number one character goal. He is essentially, I hate to do it to you, Jinyoung, who is my favorite character, but he's essentially just a better Jinyoung. He's Pyro, he is a Claymore user, he does probably the most DPS in the game out of most of the characters, maybe all of the characters. He might be the number one DPS in the entire game. He's got, he does crazy Pyro damage, most of his stuff, whereas Jinyoung does a little bit more physical. He converts a lot of things over to Pyro damage. I think he like sets his sword on fire. It's pretty sick. And then his Q is sending out this giant flaming phoenix forward to light everything ablaze. I want him tremendously. He's been number one goal since day one. I loved when they, in one of the first quests, you get to play as him as part of the, what do they call him? It's been so long since I've done the quest. The Nightman or the Night's Watch or something like that. He's like a superhero in Mondstadt. He comes out, he's like Batman. He comes out at night, fights crime. Super cool. And you get to play as him for like a 5-minute period. And I think that was the moment that I got hooked in Genshin. I'd been playing up to that point with my Traveler and Kaya and Lisa and Amber, and it was like, you know, it's fine, it's okay. And then they let me test drive D-Luke. It was like jumping in a Lamborghini and going around the block, and I was like, okay, now I got a goal that I'm working towards, and it's D-Luke. Eventually, I would love for my team to be D-Luke, Fischl, Chi-Chi, and I guess, like, I don't know, Sucrose or something to continue just a crazy elemental reaction team. And then my B team is going to be Jinyoung. And you know what? Let's go ahead and let's bring out Razor, because I think Razor is also an S tier character. He's the next character. He's my next in line that I'm working up. He's leading my B team right now. And eventually I would love for a pairing between Razor and Jinyoung. Not only do you get that nice overload, electro, and pyro connection, but they both use claymores, which I love, and they do physical damage. And Jinyoung can do some physical defense debuffs as well, which can make just some really fun combos there. So eventually that's going to be the main pairing of my B team. I'll probably demote Barb from this main team over to that team as well. And I don't know who else I'm going to add, but someone just for something funsies that can, I don't know, I haven't looked that far ahead to stack yet, but I do really, really like this character. His story mission was extremely fun. The whole Raised by Wolves backstory I think is really cool, and his character design is awesome. And then how can you not love his special abilities, especially the ultimate where a giant electro wolf spirit, you know, sees over him and slashes everything in its way. It's very cool. It's a little Skyrim-y. And yeah, he's even though I don't use him very much, I wish if I would have gotten him before Jinyoung, he would probably be my main right now. Assuming I didn't have D-Luke. But in an alternate reality where I think I got him like 2 characters after I got Fischl and Jinyoung, in an alternate reality where I got Razor first, he would probably be the center of my team right now. Okay. What is your name? I don't have you. It's like Diona or something like that. Like Diana? Something like that. She is a small child. She's a bartender, but a child. I don't really understand it. She is a cryo-using archer. And I think she heals too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know a ton about her. We have one friend in the friend group who has this character. And does some strange behavior with this character that maybe has put me off to it a little bit. I think it's the cat tail and the cat ears. I don't understand it. They haven't gone into much of a backstory with this lady yet. I don't understand why she is half cat or half leopard or whatever animal this might be. I think I'm going to stick her in the C tier for now. I honestly just don't know enough about her and need to be exposed to her a little bit more. Alright, next we have Ganyu, the newest character added, who's currently got the banner event going on. People are pretty pogged up. Apparently she's like kind of busted. I don't have her. I'm abstaining from this banner to save up for future banners. But I'm abstaining from this one. Mostly because I've got my... I don't like the archery characters very much. I don't like using Fischl's archery. I like using Fischl for the electro stuff that she does, but actually like aiming down sight and doing the archery stuff, not my playstyle in this particular game, so I'm not super attracted to any of the archers, to be honest with you. Though she is pretty dang powerful, and her quest was a lot of fun. I'm going to put her in the B tier. I think she's very strong. I think the character design is really good. The horns freak me out a little bit. I know she's supposed to be like a demigod kind of thing, which is why she has these cocoa goat horns sticking out of her head. It's a little strange to me, but the rest of her design I think is really, really solid. Cryo's a fun element to use as well, and she's really strong. The ability to just charge up your charge shot and then just rain down icicles is really powerful. And I think, look, she's better than B tier. If you're trying to build a team, put her up there. She's really good. For my purposes, I don't have her. I don't know quite enough about her. I'm going to put her in B tier. Jean is an A tier character for me. She's one of the few animo in the game. I know a lot of people don't like animo or wind or air, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's pretty fun. She's got some cool powers. Our boy Yeti has Jean and is working on building her up a little bit, so we finally get to see her out on the battlefield. I would love to get Jean if possible. I would probably add her to one of my teams. She's a sword user, which again isn't my favorite, but I can get past it. I think the design is unbelievably clean. I like her character quite a bit in the game. A little bit of your like stereotypical preppy kind of workaholic, I guess, which is maybe a little bit overdone, but I think she pulls it off really well, and she's kind of the, this big ambassador for Mondstadt, the big important head honcho for the Knights of Favonius. But I think she's a cool character, and if she, to some degree, these ratings are like, if I did a wish and this character popped up, how would I feel? Answer for her, pogged. Answer for Kaching, hyper pogged. This is a character that every single person in my Genshin friend group has. Every single one of them has Kaching, and every time we're playing together, we're fighting a boss, and I watch them go and slice a dude into a million pieces, and I just get a little bit sad because I don't have Kaching, and I want Kaching quite a bit. It's Electro, which again is very cool. She's Sword, which again isn't my favorite, but she attacks very fast, and I think that's pretty cool. The Q ability is Insanity. I would be very pogged if I were somehow able to get Kaching. I would also be quite pogged if I were somehow able to get Klee. B or A or S tier? A or S tier? Probably S tier. Maybe I'm being a little too generous with some of these. I don't know, to be honest with you. There's only like 2 missions with Klee in it so far, but much like Chi-Chi, she's on. I don't have any of these like short little adorable characters yet, and I just want one of them. Just one, please. Much like Chi-Chi, she's adorable. She's a child who goes around blowing things up like crazy, which I think is, I mean, it's awesome. It's just an adorable, cute, and funny personality. Very fun to play as in the one dungeon I was able to play as her in, where she ends by going into timeout. You get to meet her. I think she comes back in the Mona quest as well, if I want to say, and you go find her buried treasure, which is the secret book that Mona's looking for. But look, I love Pyro. I'm a fire type Pokemon boy in Pokemon. I'm a Pyro boy in this game. I like Jinyoung quite a bit. I love Diluc. I would love Klee as well. Now, Lisa, despite the advances that she has made upon me in the game that get me feeling some kind of way, I gotta say, while her character design's really good as well, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but you go, Witch Queen. I'm gonna have to stick her in C tier. I honestly just can't get her to work. I just didn't like her in a battle perspective. I actually think, and this is kind of crazy, I think she was, I said it was Amber, I think she was the first person I yeeted off my main team. And I think I kept Amber for a little bit longer just to keep the range. I could never make Lisa work. I just don't get the E. The Q's good, the lantern that kind of shocks everything. The E, the charge E is weird, I don't really get it. And she never hit very hard for me. Maybe I just didn't build her correctly, but just didn't quite do it for me. And again, some of the strange advances. Is the Traveler like a child? I don't know, because they always want him to come drink dandelion wine. So I don't know, maybe we're like 25. But I feel like a child in this game, and I don't like the strange advances you've made. Okay, Mona. Mona's an A tier for sure. Not quite an S tier. Close, close. Design, maybe the cleanest in the entire game. It's like Lisa, but like, you ever seen that meme where they show a picture and then they hit the upgrade button and then the second? Hate to say it. Mona's just a little bit better of a Lisa, both in terms of battle. She's Hydro. She's one of the few like offensive Hydros in the entire game, which I think is really cool. I have one of her. I have one. I haven't kitted her out yet. I like everything about her. The only aspect of her that gives me a little bit of pause is I'm used to doing a bunch of elemental reactions, so I'm switching between my characters constantly, and her sprint allows her to go underwater to dodge enemy attacks. Which is cool, and it's very fast, and aesthetically it's very cool. You can zip across the map very fast, but you can't switch when you're underwater, so there's often times where I'm like sprinting away from an enemy and trying to switch back into my main character, and it won't switch, and I'm like, why won't you switch? And it's because she's underground, underwater, swimming around. That's gotten a little annoying, and I think that's the only thing keeping her from an S tier, and it's the only thing keeping her off my team currently. Ningguang, I think, is a great design. It's like a really good design. The Jade Temple missions were a lot of fun. She gets, I don't use her, and I think she gets hampered a bit by being Geo. I know Geo is getting a buff soon, which is pretty exciting, but I just don't use her right now. I know Paul, this is like his main character, and I don't think I've actually ever played with Paul. I need to jump on and play with Paul sometime to see her in action. I'm gonna have to put her in with the Shong Yoon and Diona category of, I just haven't seen enough. Give me a little bit more and I think you have nowhere to go but up. But I need to see a little bit more. Okay, Noelle. This is gonna make some people mad and I'm sorry. Noelle's going into D tier. It has nothing to do with the character itself. I think she's fine. She's a Claymore user, which I like. She heals, which is cool. She's Geo, which again needs a little bit of a buff and maybe she'll be more viable. She got the whole like maid thing going on. It's a cool design. My problem is that during the last banner, when I was trying to get Fischl, I just wanted Fischl. All I wanted was like 10 Fischls, and she was boosted, so you would have thought I was gonna get more Fischls. I got like 4 Noelle over the course of that entire event and 1 Fischl. And she wasn't even boosted! So I'm mostly just a little salty that in my wishes, the game keeps handing me Noelles when all I wanted was Fischl. So there's a little bit of salt. It's nothing against the character itself, but I have to put it in D tier. Sucrose is adorable. I am working on building a Sucrose currently. She's only like level 50, so she's got some ways to go. I would put her in B tier for now. I liked getting to see more of her in the Albedo quest. Again, I just loved the whole Dragonspire side quest stuff. I think it was a really nice addition to the game. Getting to see her was very good. Her overall appearance is awesome. Again, not a ton of animo in the game, and I wish there was more. And I know she's crazy good when it comes to elemental reactions, so I think eventually getting a nice build of Diluc, Fischl, Sucrose, Chi-Chi, that's going to be like a pretty powerful team for me once I can get all the pieces in place. It's probably going to take longer than I want it to, but we'll get there eventually. Child, I want to throw you in D tier. just because I have to fight you once a week and use my resin to get my rewards, but I can't do that because you're honestly a lot cooler than that. The ability to switch between ranged and non-ranged archery and non-archery is so cool. I'm gonna have to put you in A tier. I don't have Child. This is a character though, again, if we're going by the rule of if this character showed up in a Wish, how would I feel? I would be pretty dang excited for Child to finally show up. Another offensive water user, like I said with Mona, which is a little bit of a rarity. He can do both polearm attack type stuff and then switch between the range. It's pretty cool. It's a very unique ability, and I think that stuff's worthwhile. Venti's a little interesting. Probably like a month ago, I would have put Venti up in the S tier just because I loved his quest so much. And again, I love Animo. Even though I don't like archery. I don't like a lot of the ranged characters, as I've said. A lot of the archers. The quest with Stanley, the adventurer, for whatever reason, at 2 a.m. when I finally finished it, had me about to burst into tears. And I don't know why. I'm not really an emotional person, but that one hit hard for some reason. I'm gonna put him in the A tier though. I don't know what about him has dropped off the radar for me. Like, I used to almost want Venti more than I wanted D-Luke, which is kind of crazy. Now D-Luke is far and above my number one, and probably even Chi-Chi is now above Venti. I don't know when he fell out of favor. Maybe when I got Sucrose and was like, you know, I kind of got my own little, Animo stuff going on here, so I don't need to worry about it. Okay. Next we have Zhang Ling. Zhang Ling is another character I'm working on building up right now. Nice and spicy. You gotta put Zhang Ling in A... Not Zhang Li, Shang Ling. You gotta put Shang Ling in A tier in my personal opinion. She's kind of just like a better Amber. In terms of Amber drops this little bunny that sits and dances around for like 20 minutes and does absolutely nothing. She drops a little fire-breathing teddy bear on the ground that absolutely incinerates Ice Mage shields, which I love quite a bit. She's got this really cool... The combination between her and Kaya is really cool when I pop both of their ultimates and have this, like, song of ice and fire spinning around my character simultaneously. It's a pretty cool combination. She's one of the few polearm users in the game, which I just so happened to get the Skyward Spear, or whatever it was called, in one of the... it was a 5-star spear that's really, really good. And I had nobody to use it on for the longest time because I had no polearm users. And now I got Shang Ling. So now I'm building her up a little bit. She may end up making it onto the B team. Not 100% sure yet, but I like her quite a bit. Here is Xiao. Xiao is another polearm user that is on his way to the game. He's not in the game yet though, and I don't know who you are. I know he popped in slightly. He popped in for a tiny bit for the Ganyu quest in the newest update, in the 1.3. So I've at least gotten to see him, and I think based on design alone, he can't go lower than B. I can't see him going any lower than B based off of design alone. So that's where I'm going to stick him for now. But I think he can only go up, and I'm probably going to participate in his banner just to see what I can maybe bring home, see if I can bring him home. I'm saving up all of my primos for this entire event to see what happens, so maybe I'll have him, and maybe he'll be on the team sooner rather than later. Who knows? I'm going to butcher this name. Zhangqi? Zhangqi? It is a water sword user. I do have one of this character. I'm going to have to just stick him in C tier. Similar, C tier essentially for me is like, I may or may not have you, but I just don't have the resources to build you up yet. No one in my friend group really uses you, and I just haven't seen you shine yet. The designs aren't necessarily bad. His is fine. He leaves maybe a little... there's nothing like about him that wows me that I... Like, Razor is a very, like, you see him and you're like... You can almost, like, see the personality instantly, and the hoodie's pretty dang cool as well. Zhangxi? I'm butchering it. This water sword boy? I don't know, it just seems a little basic to me. Speaking of personality, again, we're not going to do this character because I don't know who it is, so this is the final one. Zhong Li. Zhang Ling, even though I know Xiao needs a buff, even though I know he's considered the worst of the 5-star characters, if I were doing a wish and he popped up and I tried so hard to make it happen and got 17 Noelles instead, if he popped up, I would be on the moon. He's a polar muser again. I don't have many of those. I would love to have one. Xiao, which isn't good, it's at least rare, and I think it's kind of fun. His voice, daddy, his voice does something. You get to interact with this man a lot in a lot of the Liyue quest lines, a lot of the Rex Lapis, spoiler alert stuff. And you really get to see his personality shine through. And like any quest where I could tag along, or any quest where Zhang Ling just showed up, I was just like, let's go, more Zhang Ling. I would love to have him. I don't even know if I'd use him, but I would absolutely love to have him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, they're ignoring this character who I don't know who it is because it's probably spoilers. There's my Genshin Impact character tier list. Again, this is not scientific. This is not use these characters if you want to win Spiral Abyss. If you use these, lol. It's not that at all. It is purely based on my personal opinions, based on the characters that I, as a free-to-play player, have played as, who I enjoy, their characters, their, abilities, their model, how I think the design is, and just their general, what weapons they use and things like that. Purely personal opinion. I'll put a link to this tier maker in the whatever you want to call it below. I am curious. Let me check the community ranks. I'm just curious what the why? This seems suspect to me. I think this is the only tier list that like wouldn't upset anybody on the internet. I would agree with that, except for Yeti. I don't know if I agree with this result. This one seems a little skewed to me, so maybe don't take this community one to heart. But look, again, if I insulted your favorite character, it truly was not intentional. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. These are just my personal opinions and how I feel about the different characters in Genshin Impact based on my own results. If you'd like to take this quiz yourself, to put these own tier lists yourself, follow me on Twitter at justjershin. You can absolutely do that. Send me your tier list like we did with the Pokemarch Madness. I'm absolutely down to see it. Let me know. And check out my boy Yeti's in the video description below as well. His is a lot different than this one. So yeah, if you disagree with this one, maybe you'll agree with his tremendously. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider showing some support. Liking, commenting, subscribing. Helps out a great deal. Share with your grandmother as always. But with that, thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.